Hello everyone, this is Zooc and today I'm bringing you a new drawing video. This one is going to be something a bit more specific. It's going to be a design for a badge or insignia which is going to get either embossed in leather or engraved in metal. I'm not entirely sure of the final production process, but that's really of no concern to me, is it? Or you for that matter. So a few days ago I was approached by an individual on the internet, as is the case almost daily. But this one, instead of flat out insulting me, instead offered to pay me a significant chunk of money to rework a design he had planned out, a design for which he had hired two other people to come up with mock-ups for. Lo and behold, these are the mock-ups. You saw them at the beginning of the video. I think we can safely say that these are not the best thing in the world. I'm fairly confident I can blow this one out of the water easy. And I also have to add that it saddens me deeply as a professional when people charge money for services and come up with results like this. Not gonna pass judgment that harshly. Might have been someone's brother, cousin, friend, third grader, wife, kindergartner. I don't know. Fact of the matter is the guy did say that he hired the designer for it, and the designer came up with something that nobody was pleased with. Big surprise. I think that's quite understandable at this point. But it's something I can work with at least. The idea was well fleshed out, and as much as I like creative freedom in most of my projects, there also comes a time when not having to use my brain that much is also a welcomed thing. So I'm going to talk a bit about the technical aspects of it because some beginners, some people that haven't seen all of my previous videos might be somewhat confused as to what's going on or why I'm doing it. So let us begin, right? The first step is making a rough sketch. I overlaid an empty layer on top of the existing design, let's call it that, the existing design. I made a rough sketch, presented it to the client, did a few back and forths, made some changes. That kind of goes on for a long time. And then at the end, I scratched the whole sketch, rebuild it from scratch, flesh out the final details, add my own personal touches. And that's pretty much it. You send it and you get paid. The number one advice I can give anyone ever attempting to get into this business is to never work until you get paid at least 50% in advance. Contrary to popular belief, a designer's time is not worthless, and this is not a job that anyone can do. So if you want to ditch the designer to get your cousin Jimmy to do it for free, you're an idiot. Unless your cousin Jimmy works at Pentagram or some internationally renowned design agency. If he has no tangency with this area whatsoever, you're not striking a deal. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. So stick to the person that charges a decent amount of money. If it shocks you how much it charges, then he's probably quite decent at what he does. Or you're getting scammed. One of those two outcomes. For the latter, I'm very sorry for you. But it doesn't happen that often. I hope, at least. Not from what I've heard. So, what is the medium I'm working in? I'm working in Manga Studio for this one, and most of my projects, actually. Manga Studio has this incredibly neat feature called a symmetry ruler, which is something that Photoshop still hasn't added for some reason. I swear to God, I've actually talked with people from Adobe, with developers, and I was having some issues with some saving function in Photoshop. And I browsed the forums a bit just to see what people were saying about it and what they were complaining about. The forums are literally packed with complaints about lack of features in Photoshop. I mean, for the amount of money they charge for the cloud bullshit, you would think that they would be a little bit more innovative in what they put out. But every Photoshop that they put out, every version of it, is just same shit, but we added 3D function. Same shit, but we added some other bullshit that's basically useless. A symmetry ruler, I mean, out of all things, seems like something very basic that you would think of when you make a painting program. Sometimes you want to make stuff symmetrical, right? So how about instead of doing it copy, paste, transform, flip horizontal, you just make our lives easier and you just give us that function. But no. Brush stabilization, another feature that would be very, very welcomed in Photoshop natively. I know there is a plugin called Lazy Nezumi, which accomplishes that quite successfully. But it would be nice to not need it. How about that? Why can't people from Manga Studio come up with these features and Adobe, which is a much, much larger company, can't? I don't know. Beats me. So regardless, I'm using Manga Studio, which I actually bought the original version, because some people last time I streamed or last few times were giving me shit about the fact that I was using a pirated version. So I did pull the trigger on that. It's very cheap for what it does. I mean, for the 40 bucks or 40 euros or whatever, it's definitely worth the money. I am using the symmetry ruler function. That's quite obvious at this point. And I'm also using a brush set made by an artist called Brian Allen, who has a website called flylanddesigns.com. And he is the purveyor of this particular style that I'm using, or at least something akin to it. That looks very cool to me. I mean, it's basically my favorite style. I've dabbled in most styles of drawing and painting out there, and I have to say that this comic style with very irregular outlines, thick to thin, all that shit, like abrupt kind of curves and sharp corners, I think it just looks really cool. This guy, Brian, does mostly t-shirt designs and poster designs and all sorts of like ensembles that will be printed somewhere. And he's really good at what he does. He has like his style laid down very neatly and clearly, and it just looks really good. He has the ability to make common things look really cool. So go and check that out. His brush set is totally worth it. I definitely recommend paying the $3, ditching the standard brush set, and grabbing that one. Takes a bit of practice getting used to, but it'll definitely make your drawing experience much, much easier. So these are my tools. Nothing really out of the ordinary, but for anyone trying to get into this kind of style, or at least attempt it, Manga Studio is definitely a good investment. I would say it's equally, almost as good for painting as Photoshop is. In some cases, it's even better. I can safely say that. And that's pretty much it. So the final scales on the dragon were actually the client's choice. I would have preferred it without the scales, but he insisted that it was textured. That's fine. His money, his project. I am not going to argue with the man if he wants to be specific about things. But that's pretty much it. Now let's talk a bit about other stuff, personal things. Gotta give a little update. So lately I've been going to the gym hardcore. I've made a lot of promises along the years in my videos that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Not that anyone actually gives a shit unless they've been really following me from the very beginning. But I didn't really stick to a lot of the things I said. Well, I am now, definitely. Going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week regularly, not really skipping out on anything. Gave up most of my bad habits, except smoking. That's something I've been struggling with for a very long time. But I really want to quit that shit as well because it's stupid and it's killing me. Other than that, I've been saying yes to more things. I think that's generally a good idea overall. I was a loner for a lot of years, and at some point I was actively refusing to go out with people and meet new people because I was happy in my house alone. But lately I've decided that that's not really the best way to go about it. So I found a group of people to play board games with every Saturday. That's really nice. We have some laughs. Just, reworking bits and pieces of my life that have been stagnating for a long time now, including health and the social aspect and all that stuff. I've been doing an enormous amount of reading lately about self-improvement, relationship dynamics, gender dynamics, men, just masculinity in general. All of these concepts, they're very interesting to me. And so I have a few ideas to talk about in vlogs in the future. Also, if you have any specific questions like books recommendations or anything like that, just check out any Q&A video, go to the Facebook thread and ask it there just to keep it nice and organized. And I've also been doing a lot of work on stuff that's not really interesting to film, so that's part of the reason why the channel has been more kind of light on content lately. But that's bound to get better. I'm also going to start streaming again soon. I had to wait to upgrade my internet connection because these motherfuckers from my ISP scammed me. They changed their tiers randomly and stuck me with 6 megabytes upload, which was kind of retarded. So I had to buy the max tier of internet just to have a measly 25 megabytes upload. But that's life. That's how it is in Romania. So anyway, that's going to be it for now. Please rate that shit if you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching. This has been an anthropomorphic dragon holding a screwdriver and a multimeter with some Latin text on scattered all over the place in a badge with wings and a nonsensical kind of symbol on his forehead. Basically sounds like most of my projects, actually. But hey, who am I to complain? So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.